Hi everyone, Velvet here, and I have 3 stories for you today. But before we get started, could you do me a huge favor and like, comment, and subscribe, and share the video around? It'll really help the channel out. Let's get started. Our first story comes from Perfunctory. Am I the beehole? A woman demanded info on my condition, so I asked her extremely personal questions. I, a 49-year-old female, was at the state fair yesterday, and this woman near me came over and demanded info about my medical condition. Long story short, I'm paralyzed from roughly the bra band down. I use a power wheelchair and have a service dog. I usually don't mind educating people about paralysis, access issues, and chatting about my dog, but this woman, my dudes, she was rude, abrasive, and demanding. She acted like she was entitled to my personal medical history. She didn't even ask politely, just demanded to know how it happened, what the results were, if I tried XYZ treatments, you name it. She even wanted to know about my sex life. Just seriously, who asked this stuff of a literal stranger, unfortunate enough to be eating delicious fair food at the table area? I just stared at her in shock as my delicious deep-fried barbecue got cold. So, I smiled as politely as I could manage, and this is where I may have been the beehole. I started to ask her about her last GYN visit. Were her stirrups too high? Did she have to do that awkward shimmy/scoot down the table if the speculum was too cold? If the pap smear hurt? The usual. If she felt entitled to my answers, I should be entitled to her answers, right? Well, she threw an absolute effing fit and started screaming and yelling that I was gross and a pervert and on and on and on. Her group tried to calm her down, and one of them told me I should have been polite and just answered her questions. As far as I could tell, this woman wasn't impaired in any way. She didn't have a carer or a minder. She was with a group of friends and had been carrying on normally with them until she saw me. I got to the table and asked if the space was free and set up at the end of the table, because my chair fits neatly at the end of one piece of the picnic benches. I told the group that if she wanted my personal and private medical information, then she should trade info for info. 2 of the people called me a beehole when they left, trying to calm down their nearly hysterical friend as they left. She was still screaming and shouting how I was a perv, cruel, and mean. People were starting to stare at me, and I hated it. At the time, I felt good for finally finding a shiny, new, but still broken spine and standing up for myself. I see what you did there. That was quite clever. So to speak. I was talking to friends last night, and they said I was a beehole. I could have politely told her I wasn't going to tell her. I tried that when she came over and demanded answers, not even asked for them. So Reddit, I'm asking here, am I the beehole for not divulging my medical info and asking about hers? No, you are not the beehole. I thought you handled that very well. And congrats on growing that spine. You don't get to just demand someone's personal info like that and get it. And screw her friends for saying all that stuff to you. They're enabling their crappy friend and her terrible attitude. And also, what's up with your friends not having your back? It sounded like you handled it well the first time, being polite and, telling her no, and she kept pressing. She deserved it. She deserved some of the excrement thrown back on her. I guess because of the way she acted, she's been enabled her whole life, and she's not used to people actually telling her no and standing up to her. But what really pains me about this story is you letting that barbecue go cold. I love barbecue. You should have kept eating the barbecue. And our next story comes from, am I the beehole for giving skincare to my 13-year-old niece? So, long story short, I'm a 27-year-old woman with a niece who's now 13 years old. Long story, my sister is much older than me. For her birthday, I went to the Korean skincare store and got her a little care package with fun bubbling or animal face mask, night cream, mist, a little serum in a cool looking bottle, a cleanser, and sunscreen. My sister got mad and said I was pressuring her to conform to beauty standards. She said that the animal mask and the cute bottles are fun, but the inclusion of night cream and sunscreen can make her daughter already feel pressured not to age at 13. I see it as a fun way of encouraging good skin habits at an early age, considering most start their routines way too young. I see it as a cute girly gift that she might enjoy. But my sister says 13 years is too young and she shouldn't be worrying about aging. Am I the beehole? You are not the beehole. I don't get where your sister's coming from. It's a good habit to have a good skin routine. I wish I'd started when I was younger. My whole right side of my, stomach, chest area looks like a bloody alligator because I didn't keep up with my skincare when I was younger. And even if you have a baby, you keep that baby lotion because you don't want their skin to dry out. And the purpose of what you bought her isn't to, stop aging. It's to help to keep the skin healthy. Our third and final story comes from OK Beat 1856. Am I the beehole for refusing to go to my son's Halloween parties since he won't invite his sister since she cheated? I'm going to host the event myself and will do that for a while. In our family, we rotate who hosts the family event. This Halloween party is being done by my son and everyone was invited but his sister. She, Amy, cheated on her long-distance boyfriend about 4 months ago. I didn't approve of what she did. It was garbage of her. Now, my son is taking her cheating personally. Extremely personally. I had to tell him to shut up about it multiple times. Now, today I was talking with her and she didn't know when the party was. I called up my son and he told me she wasn't invited. I told him I will not be going if everyone in the family is invited besides her. This is when the argument broke out. He called me some creative names for defending the slut of the family. I hung up after that. I told my husband what happened and he's also not going now. My son is pissed, and I'm getting messages for not going to the party. Edit. He's 28 and she's 23. I've talked to him about it, and he can't stand cheaters. His exact words. He has never been cheated on, from my knowledge. She already did that, apologized to the ex, and then they broke up. She didn't hide it. His attitude about this makes me think this will be a problem with him for the long time. I look down the comments, and I disagree with a lot of the comments. But I'll agree with them on this. No, you are not the beehole. I get it, that's your daughter. But I despise cheaters. So I can see where your son is coming from. But I also agree with him. I don't want people like that around me. She apologized. Good for her. So what? She's still a cheater. She still did something horrible. So I can see this one from both sides. It just seems like you're in a terrible spot, OP. And I wish the best for you, but I'm kinda on your son's side on this. I could forgive someone I love for murder before I could forgive them for cheating on me. Why not just end the relationship instead of doing this horrible thing? I'll never get it, and I don't understand it, and I don't care if I understand it, 'cause that's just terrible. Alright everybody, thank you so much for making it to the end of the video. And like I said at the start, please like, comment, and subscribe. Velvet out.